I think we'll go ahead and get started. Good morning, everybody. This is Brian Mack at the Department of Labor and Industry, Workers' Comp ADR Unit. I'm one of the arbitrators here. I have with me this morning Sandy Barnes, ADR Supervisor. She is managing the technical WebEx this morning. She'll also be watching for our chat and helping make sure that we get everything addressed that comes up. We're going to be talking today about scheduling, focusing on scheduling in campus. Now, of course, at any time in any of these sessions, if anyone has any more fundamental or foundational questions, feel free to ask. We don't want anyone to feel like they're just completely being left behind and missing something important, because I frankly hate that when I get that feeling myself. So, if you have any questions that come up as we're discussing today, put them in the chat. If you would, keep your mics muted, and that makes for a cleaner discussion, as you all know. Put them in the chat, and when you write a chat question, make sure or try to address the question to click on the option everyone, and that ensures that both me and Sandy and the rest of you can also see the question. So you don't need to hold your breath and wait till the very end with all of your questions, but just let us know what's on your mind as it comes up. If I see them, I'll address them. Sandy, as you've been doing, may stop me and either address the question yourself or invite me to address it. But we do want to have you feel like you're following us along very well this morning. So with that, let's get right into it. I'm going to be toggling a little bit between some slides here and the actual campus. So what we're going to be talking about is the concept of how you look at calendars in campus. Keep in mind that the campus calendar is different from the OAH calendar. What we have here are only the DLI events. You'll still need to look at CTRAC for your OAH events. It is not a combined calendar. So this is an example of your campus dashboard. You'll be able to see here, well, this big 3 indicates this is how many upcoming events you have. But what you're really going to be concerned about is what's happening on a specific or on a given day, and that's down here in my events. A dot on the day that indicates something's going on. We obviously don't have a lot of dots because this isn't a full environment. This is just a test, so we've only thrown a couple of events in there for demonstrative purposes. But this shows you how many things you have on a given day. By clicking this 3-dot icon, that's going to blow it up for you, so you can see some more details, and you can open the entire calendar. That will show you more what's going on and then you can toggle from month to month also. You're still in a summary basis here of what the event is. But if you were to click on one of these dots, one of these events, or this day, actually it'll be one of these dots, that will bring you to the full details of the event. If hopefully some of you will remember that an event in campus is basically a conference. An event is something people attend. So a medical request is not an event. A request for cert is not an event. A claim isn't an event. A med conference is an event. A mediation is an event. And events, as you probably are starting to see, have a prefix in front of them, which is corresponding to what it is. So it's got an EV. Or contrast that rather with an employee. They have a code which begins with an EE. A claim has a CL as a prefix in front of it. Dispute, like a medical request, has a DS in front of it. And a document, like the medical request form, has a DO in front of it. So I digressed for a little bit there, but EV is what we have in front of the events. So in the event, you'll be able to see all the detail that has been populated for it. So I think what I'm gonna do is back up for a second and just go through that. And we don't have too many slides today. We're not gonna be covering 10 different topics. So let's make sure that people are feeling as comfortable as they can be with what this topic is. So if you want it in your dashboard, you can see how many events you have on a given day. You can start expanding it with summaries. The full calendar will be able to show you in a bit more detail what you have going on a given day. And by clicking any of those events, you can see the event page in Campus. So let's now go down to the Campus system itself. So here we are. I have no upcoming events. There's nothing on my calendar as Bill Preston right now. But fortunately, just for our discussion purposes today, I had an event that I did yesterday. And as we can see down here, we've got one dot on the 15th of October. So we can pretend if we pretend we are Wednesday and we're looking at what's coming the next day, or excuse me, I know I haven't had a coffee this morning. Maybe that's the issue. So forgive my difficulties with the English language this morning. But if we click on the 15th and pretend we're on the 15th, we want to see what's going on that day. Let's take a look. So here we are on the 15th today, and we're looking either for ourselves or for what the lawyer we work for is today, or if we're a party, if we're an insurance company and we're looking and we're a claim adjuster and we see, okay, I'm going to be taking a med conference myself today, or I'm going to be attending a med conference myself today. This will be what it looks like on, again, a bit of a summary version. The test environment we're in right now is not displaying those kind of mid-level summaries at the bottom of the screen that you saw in the slides, so we expect that'll be back for the live version. So let's just go ahead and click on this one. Is the campus event screen. Again, if you were in a medical request screen, you would see a DS here. And that's something that I've been watching periodically as I'm working through Campus, because sometimes if I'm down here, I might not know exactly am I on an event screen? Am I on a dispute screen? To just whip up to the top here, then notice it's an EV, tells me it's an event screen. So this is the event that we have going on. These are the parties which have been served with it. Oops, click on that again. Now I do notice we've got one dot on the chat box. Have we got anything up there, Sandy, we should be addressing?
No, I'm not seeing anything. What I did do is I put the link to the DLI website for all the campus training materials.
Okay, that must be it. All right.
If there are any questions, again, just a reminder, please put them in the chat to everyone.
Yep. So let's go back. Something you can do actually, we're going to be showing exporting in just a minute. So let's move on to our next slide here, editing it. We're always working on in your law firms, getting our calendar, getting our availability in so that you don't get double booked by DLI or by OAH for that matter. And you can do that too. So let's, actually before that even, I'm just going to hit this because it's right here. This is a campus event. You would have been given notice of it by way of an email notice, and you can see in Campus that it's right for you as the lawyer or the claim adjuster. This doesn't automatically populate your Outlook calendar. You can do that though. And the way you'll do that is to go to Export Event. This then creates one of these ICS files, which I got to admit to everybody, I wasn't familiar with until I started working in campus here. We can then open this. Bear with me, it's coming up. Still, give me just a few more seconds, it's coming. And then I'm just going to slide over my calendar. So this is what we generate by opening that ICS. And so I can take a look at my calendar and I see that it is there. Well, it was there. I don't see it now. Let's take a look. Oh, you know what? Maybe it doesn't show because it's past. But I'm not going to continue to struggle with that for you, but that is what's happening when you open up the event through this export event details. You can get it into your Outlook calendar. And I was just double checking that that worked this morning, so it does, but it could be that I was looking at a date that was in the future on a different login ID. So that's how you're going to get it into your Outlook calendars. Another topic here is editing the calendar. This is what I was going to go into a couple of minutes ago. You've got your OAH events, you've got your 239s, your settlement conferences, pre-trial conferences, your hearings, and everything over there, and you really don't want to have to ask for continuances of a medical request because you've got a conflict with something already going on at OAH, or you might have a conflict because the attorney or you as the claim adjuster is going to be out for that day to get a crown or a bridge in your mouth or something to that effect. So you would really like to not be scheduled for certain days in campus. So you can do that. What we're going to do is go back to that calendar. Well, what we will do is you go onto the calendar, there will be a edit unavailability button, and when you click it, it'll let you add whatever you want to that specific day. So let's go ahead and do that. Yeah.
Right. We have a question. Will the email notification for the event have the event details such as date and time?
Does not. The email events, or at least I believe it does not. Just like if you have a medical request which has been filed, you will not be able to see all the details in the email. You'll still need to go into campus to take a look at it. That is my understanding. Sandy, do you understand any different from that?
No, I don't.
Okay. So, editing unavailability. We're in the calendar. We'll go back to the beginning. So we're in the calendar, and we want to edit some unavailability. I want to put that I'm going to attend something different. So this is what we could do. It brings up a screen. You can add, this is just, it says no location, but this is a narrative type of a box that you can say attend Van Halen funeral, something to that effect. You can add time, and when you save it, it will add as an event here on campus, or really we call it unavailability. It's not, I guess we don't want to call it an event, but it updates your unavailability so that when we are scheduling things for you in our calendar, we can see that unavailability. So that's how to do that. Any that, because I know you guys are going to be doing that quite a bit. It's not a complicated process, but we want you to see that it's not that hard to do. Okay, we're doing all right. We are, by the way, scheduled for an hour and a half this morning, but it is not at all going to take that. We've just blocked out these times and to make sure we had enough time blocked into our schedules, but this is a relatively limited topic that we're talking about this morning, and so it won't at all be taking an hour and a half. So we're going to be able to give you some. All right, requests for mediation. These can be scheduled also through campus. What you're doing right now when people take advantage of our mediation service at DLI, right now they will be calls or emails with our staff. Probably those of you who've taken advantage of this service are probably familiar with working with Lori to get your schedules done. Lori may still be involved with it, but we now have a bit of a electronic way of handling the scheduling. What you can, and we call this polling. When you do a request for a mediation, you'll be given an opportunity to start a poll. A poll is basically a set of proposals. A set of proposals for up to 3 days, up to 3 times, and up to three mediators. And that set of proposals, the poll, can be sent to DLI for the mediator to see, and sent to the other party for them to see. The mediator then at DLI will look at that poll, that proposed set of dates and times. The other lawyer will independently look at the poll, and they will respond back to whether any of those proposed dates and times work or don't work. Once all the response back, then Lori or whoever it may be will see if we have any matches. And if we got a bingo, then we can set the date of the mediation and the time of the mediation. If none of them work, then we can do a new poll. So that's in a nutshell what a poll involving. It took me a little while to wrap my head around it because it's all new, of course, but it's nothing really more complicated than that. A poll is a proposed set of dates and times. So the opportunity to make a poll comes up when you're requesting a mediation. You'll be given toward the end of your campus request to do a request for a mediation. You can choose either to set the date and time right away, or to send an availability poll. And then, as you can see here, if you choose to use the poll, you can pick up to 3 mediators. If you're saying, I'm open, I'd like to do one of these 3 days if possible, I'm up for any of these 3, whichever of these 3 mediators can do it. And you can set potential times, AM or PM, of course, because we're not setting mediations for just an hour. You could also choose if you for sure want to use Angie as your mediator. You don't have to pick 3. You could just choose Angie, and then only Angie would be or Lori rather would only be checking Angie's schedule for these potential 3 dates and times. Or again, you can go up to 3. These are the proposed dates and times that the requesting party, would populate. And that poll then gets sent out to Lori on our end to look at Angie's schedule, and the other attorney on their end to look at their schedule. And I won't be able to demonstrate this in campus this morning for you, but this is what you will be receiving on the other end. So both our DLI staff and the other attorney will see this, and they will submit a response. They'll get this in their campus with a notice that there's a poll waiting for them. So they can pick if these dates and times are good or not good. And as you can see here, when everybody is sent responses back, then we can see if we got a match And if we've got a match, we can set the mediation. But to go back a step, this is a voluntary process. It is an option, it's a functionality that campus offers, but if you have already decided which date and time and mediator works for everybody, you don't need to do a poll. So a poll is simply a tool that you can use if you wish to use it. If you already know the date and time mediator, then you can set it right away. I'm going to stop there for a second because that was a lot for me to digest, Sandy, as I was learning it. So I want to see if we've got any questions coming out on that.
Okay, we do. They've asked if you could go back and show where you start the polling request.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't actually show where it's, but what will happen, let me find that screen here, is it will pop up toward the end of when you are requesting a mediation. So just like at the end of, if you're requesting or if you're creating a medical request or a rehab request, you will be serving the other parties, and that affidavit of service screen will pop up. If you're requesting a mediation, the mediation polling screen will pop up. Our time for going all the way through creating a mediation or requesting mediation, but it would be here, the filing, initiate a dispute. We would then find let's go a little bit into it. We're going to go to our friend Cleopatra, CL02 3880 415. Again, this is the process, the beginning to request a mediation. There's our claim. We represent Cleopatra. These are the other parties. What do
Brian,
we want? Yes.
What happens if one of the persons the poll was sent to does not respond?
If there's response, my understanding is that because we are managing it, we will be checking for it and reaching out to see if they're going to get to it. So
all right.
Our team here will be watching for those responses, and they will be able to reach out.
Thanks.
So it's not, there's an automated part of it, which is the proposal, the poll being sent out, but there is a human part, a manual part of it, where someone on our end is going to manage it. Here's our mediation, by the way, if we're going to request one. We could, it might be a medical issue. I'm not going to so we don't need to take it all the way through, but hopefully you guys are seeing this is a pretty similar process to what would happen if we're going to be doing a medical request, a request for cert, a rehab request. But at the end of the process, it doesn't show it here, but at the end of the process for a mediation, you will be sent to that screen also. So it'll be just an additional piece of the structure you're creating. So again, you can choose to just pick the date and time right away. And this will come up as through the process of generating that request for a mediation. You can either pick the date right away, you can send the poll, which again is a proposed set of dates, times, and mediators. That's what a poll is. The people who are part of the poll respond to it. This is the response part. So you'll pick whether these things, actually, wait a minute. If you're sent a poll, you get it. So this is another screen. One of these screens you'll be getting. in your campus, which will lead you to giving a response to those individual mediators, dates, and times. And once that's done, then we now have our OAS staff, often Lori, are pulling those results together. A new poll will be sent out if necessary, or people could just say, you know what, maybe you just agree through email and phone, and that'll be fine too, because again, you never have to do a poll. If you're finding maybe we try a poll, it doesn't work on for this set of 3, let's not do another one. Just pick, how about this date? And if everybody agrees, then great. Once Lori finds that the date is done, she sets it, and now you have an event. Yeah.
Brian, we have a question. Are you able to print out the mediation notice once everything is set up?
Can you print the mediation notice? You mean the notice of a mediation? Yes, you can. That would be a document, just like a medical request will be in a document viewable form. A notice of admin conference will be a document in a viewable form. And any of these documents can be printed at your desktop. They can be downloaded to your screen, to your computer, or they can be simply viewed. And the notice of mediation is one of those. So a notice of mediation is an event. It will have the affidavit of service with it. It'll give you it'll look like our notice that you get sent out right now. And you can download that to your screen or to your computer, and then you can send that off either to your client or to the attorney you want to attend the mediation for you.
Thanks, Brian.
I think as a little digression here, we'll just go back again into one of these claims just to take a look at that document. Here we are in Cleopatra's claim, and the claim, as you guys are hopefully digesting from other sessions or from your own time looking at the manual, is the injury itself. The claim would be Cleopatra's injury on 1/1/20. And in Cleopatra's claim, and we know that this is the claim page because it's got a CL on it, related claims. We can see one of her disputes because it's got a DS in front of it. It says medical dispute. And now that we're in the medical dispute, which is a medical request, we can look at documents right here. We can open one up. I'm going to right click and bring it into a new tab. And this actually this must have been one that I just uploaded as a test. So we can bring this as our medical request, and if it were a generated document like a notice of mediation or a notice of conference, it'll be right here for you to see. You can either print it or you can download it. Something that I'm going to point out to you here, and this is again one little bit of digression, but helpful, I think. In the dispute page, there is a documents tab, and those are the documents that medical dispute. So they're going to be probably the request for cert. There's going to be the medical request, its attachments, the medical response, its attachments, the notice of admin conference, etc. All that will be there. But if we went into if that again was in the dispute page, just claim page for Cleopatra. So this is not her dispute. This is just her injury. Notice, hey, there's a documents tab here. Shouldn't everything be here? And the answer, no. There are some things here just because we're doing various testing and we're practicing putting things here and there in different places. Claim is not the same as the dispute because her injury on 9/1/20 could have a medical dispute which was addressed last year, a cert which was non-certified early this year, and a rehab request which is pending in November. There could be multiple disputes on one claim. And generally, the documents relating to the dispute will be on the dispute page. Might there be a reason why some documents get sent to the claim page? Could be, but generally speaking, if you're wanting to see the documents relating to the dispute, it's not just all thrown in one huge red robe for Cleopatra Calderon. And I say that as show how old school I am. But you will see those documents in the specific dispute page. Same with the mediation. If you're going to be looking for a mediation document, you will be able to do that. You'll be able to find those in the mediation page. One last thing. This was not on one of our slides, but on the concept of the confidential pre-mediation submissions. We get some questions on this. I'm not going to be able to demonstrate it right now, but if you are in the mediation event page, and again, an event is EV as the prefix, there will be options there to submit the confidential pre-mediation submissions to your mediator. Those, as you all know, for those of you who use our mediation service at DLI, you will usually be sending those to the attorney by way of email. And there's nothing stopping you from continuing to do that. But if you want to get into the system through as a confidential document, eyes only for the mediator, Campus allows you to do that too when you're in the mediation screen. It is going to be something like this. We're in the claims screen, and it gives you an opportunity to submit a filing for Cleopatra if you wanted to. But if you're in the mediation screen, you'll be given options to send that document in.
Brian, can they still do it the old way of just submitting it to the mediator directly if they would like?
Nothing stopping you guys from doing that. Our email is not turned off. We still have email. We still have our phones. Campus here is a tool to consolidate documents and allow for easy access and viewing of documents, but we still can communicate with each other by the other ways, that by email and phone. And that, at a half hour actually, is all this took to go through this specific the specific topic of calendaring. We can now, this ends the formal part of the session. We're giving you back an hour of your time to go do other things I know you want to hit before the weekend. But if anyone wants to stay, and ask a few more questions. Sandy and I are both happy to stay on and see if we can field as many questions as we possibly can. Thanks so much, everybody. Stay safe and have a good weekend. And how are we doing with any questions, Sandy? Or are we going to shut it down, or do we have? Oh, let's see. I saw there's. If someone doesn't respond.
Right, and then we had the last question was about the mediation notice. I'm not getting anything else. We can stay on for another minute or two if anybody would like to. Provide
so we've got
us
a few more people on. I like to stay on myself sometimes when I'm in a WebEx because I want to see if I might not have any questions for myself, but I want to be here in case anybody else has a question. So maybe that's what people are doing here. So I get that. I didn't throw up there for you any new email addresses or phone numbers or names, but you guys are probably familiar that you can go to our DLI website and find all that contact information. Even a copy of this will be up on our site.
It may take us a couple of days to get this posted to the website.
We'll get there.
It will get there. Thank you, everyone, for attending. If you have any questions, you can certainly send those our way, and we hope you found this helpful today.
All right. Have a good weekend, everybody. Bye now. And Sandy, you'll be stopping the recording.
It helps if I unmute. Yes, I will stop. Thanks, Brian.